All right, so what's going on, people? So it's Nathan and Olu here from Beckley Rose Academy. So we mentioned that in our last video that we would do a follow-up video to discuss how we acquired our fourth cash flow property and what the numbers are looking like on this particular deal. So in terms of finding the deal, this actually was brought about through Gumtree, yeah, which is a fantastic online portal where you are able to contact landlords directly who may be trying to sell or rent out their house. So through Gumtree, we looked at this house to possibly see whether it would be suitable for a HMO because our previous cash flow properties are all HMOs. So initially contacting the at the time what I thought was the landlord, we got as much details as possible, and then I went to do the viewing. Now, what actually happened is that when we arrived at the house, the person who told me that they were the landlord of the house, they weren't the landlord. They were actually a property manager for the landlord who's actually overseas. Now, looking at the house, it wasn't suitable for a typical HMO. Just the layout wouldn't work for us. But it was interesting because the manager wanted us to manage it with them, basically, for us to do pretty much all of the work, and they keep a percentage and we'll take a small percentage. So initially, kind of, we said it wouldn't work. Just it wasn't in our best interests
She
to take
she
on that particular
really
deal.
wanted to be financially free, right? She wanted to get us to manage it, take a cut, and then pay the landlord for doing nothing at all.
Exactly that. So we were kind of just like, no, this wouldn't be of interest to us. Now, what actually happened is a few weeks down the line, she actually emailed us to kind of find out our thoughts, whether we changed our mind. And I kind of just reiterated to her again that actually, no, we would want to work with the landlord directly. And a few weeks after that, the landlord who's actually overseas contacted us to say, look, that current property manager was finding the job too overwhelming. She didn't want to do it anymore. So did you guys want to take over this property? So we were like, yeah, works for us. Now, as I mentioned previously, we had been doing HMOs, but this was going to be the first time that we were stepping into serviced accommodation. So we had the option to take it on as a rent to rent, but we thought because of the current climate, where at the moment in the 2020 into 2021, we've got the COVID-19 pandemic. We didn't really feel we didn't want to take on that risk. So we decided to actually negotiate it as a management only deal. Yeah, where we are taking a 20% fee, 20% fee as management on this particular property. So, Olu, do you want to just kind of run through the numbers on
Yes,
this particular deal?
sure. So, like Nathan mentioned, instead of our traditional guaranteed rent, we went with fixed commission of 20%. Now, one of the attractive elements of this offer is one, um, we take on zero risk. So we don't have a fixed amount in which we need to pay the landlord on a particular month. If we're unable to fill the property, we don't make any money. The landlord won't make any money, but we also won't lose any money, right? Which was critical for us in the days of COVID-19. So the first thing with this property was there was zero upfront cost. The property was in a great condition due to the fact that it was already being ran as a SA. There was zero initial investment that we had to put into the property. Normally, we would put between 4 to 10K into a property with a 6 to 1 year break even, and then we'll start to make profit afterwards. With this particular property, we would make profit as soon as we're able to let out the property. So with our initial calculations, assuming 50% occupancy, we were looking at £300 a month. So you can think about this: £300 with limited to no risk, right? Is perfect in this climate. If we look at just our first month of letting out the property, right, January, we were able to let out the full month, and based on the 20% profit, right, we were able to make a profit of around £600. So just looking at that number, it's completely attractive. Those are comparable numbers to what would make on our HMO, but with the risk that we have to take. So going into 2021, we've found different ways to market the property and ensure a higher occupancy level of the low estimate of 50%, and £300 per month. So we're very optimistic for 2021, and this will be a lucrative and win-win situation for ourselves and the landlord, and ensure limit or no risk due to the fact that we're doing a management fee of 20% instead of a fixed guaranteed rent. So I think we'll end this video now. On the next video, what we'll do is we will discuss some of the mechanisms that we have in place to ensure that managing an SA doesn't take up too much of your time. Because I think this property is a great example of automating a lot of systems to take us away from the business and not having to go to the property every single time a new tenant or a new tenant comes in, checks in or checks out of the property. And we'll also talk about how to convince a landlord to do a management fee offer versus a guaranteed rent offer as well. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you do have any comments, please put it in the comment section and we'll talk to you next time. Take care.
Take care. See ya.
Beckley Rose Property Solutions, the master key of property management.